The fashion industry has been recently criticized for overproduction, fast pace of change, declining quality of goods, a huge amount of waste, and overconsumption. In line with this criticism, independent clothing designers in Finland started to establish their own brands and micro-enterprises, aiming at production of sustainable fashion.
The fashion industry is evil. Like the values that the fashion industry promotes, I don't like any of them. The only thing I like about fashion is that I believe that clothes are important for people to feel good about themselves.
Meillä on vielä aika lähellä semmoinen omavaraistalous ja sitten materiaalien hyödyntäminen loppuun asti.
Like there's so much clothes and too much clothes in the world, and it goes like into garbage. We don't want to follow that.
In this film, we look closely at practices adopted by clothing designers that take a critical approach to fashion. 9 designers living and working in Helsinki speak about how they implement sustainable fashion, shedding light on what it means to be an independent clothing designer in current times of economic hardship. Slow fashion refers to a fashion system based on small-scale production, slow rhythm, the use of local resources, and a long-term relationship of a consumer with clothing. Suvi calls her brand a slow fashion brand.
We wanted to make collections, but not like the big brands. There are coming like 2 collections per year or even more, and then they just get rid of the old clothes. We didn't want to do that. Yeah, we wanted to make clothes, but we wanted to make like the models and the designs that can be very like timeless.
Upcycling is a process by which a designer converts old clothes and materials into a new, one-of-a-kind item with greater value. Upcycling raises the symbolic value of a clothing item because a designer invests her creativity into it. Mayu, the owner of the brand Kiss Kiss, upcycles tights she gets from a factory in northern Finland. She orders skin-tone tights with minor manufacturing defects that would otherwise be burnt, dyes them with bright colors, and paints using Japanese kimono techniques. Mayu avoids calling the different series of her tights collections. Instead, she divides them into topics with various themes.
Tämä oli varmaan talvella, niin kaipasin jotenkin katukuvasta ja tuli semmoinen olo, että miten voisi tuoda sinne jotenkin semmoisen lisätä rakkautta tai empatiaa tai tämän tyyppisiä elementtejä. No, mutta sitten mä ajattelin, että mitähän muut ihmiset kaipaisi, niin mä tein Facebookissa sellaisen kyselyn, kun mulla on aika aktiivinen Kiss-Kiss-sivusto siellä, että mitä ihmiset kaipaa. Ja sitten he vastasivat, siellä oli 10 vastauksia ja sitten mä niistä valitsin semmoiset, mitkä sopi mun omaankin ajatusmaailmaan, semmoiset teemat.
Upcycling can be done with the use of pre-consumer waste, such as scrap tights from the factories. Another way is to work with post-consumer waste, or use second-hand materials, as do Paula, Janika, and Victoria.
The hardest or the most difficult way of doing upcycling is like after consumers have been using the stuff. Because you have to have specific technique to like designing the clothing, and then also you need to have the material flow really good. So you have to know the recyclers quite well. When you upcycle things, you need to have basic structure for the clothing, like a skeleton, which is made out of more thicker material, that it holds the form together. Because for example, jersey, when it's recycled or upcycled, it can lose its thickness and it breaks much more easily. So if you use all the soft materials in the sides where they can only hang around and make different kind of like side parts, it will last much more longer. And for these ones I have added the leather just to make a little like effect on it.
A lot of stuff comes from over here because I have so nice, clothing here as people bring them fixing for fixing in. A lot of old toys are used for garments, accessories, and stuff like that. Old handbags can be renovated and used as well, as long as they are in good condition. Old jeans become shorts, jackets become vests, and then you add something original to them. Tässä on tärkeintä se, että saa niinku käyttöön näitä. Tässä on esimerkiksi siis silkkipaita, joka oli vaan menossa niinku rodeen. Niin ei nyt jotain silkkiä, vaan sä et vaan heitä sitä pois, jos sillä voi tehdä jotain. Joten vanha tämmönen 90-luvun ihana uikkarikangas ja sitten siitä tulee jossain vaiheessa tommonen auringonottopuku. Eli siihen se paita käytetään hyvin pitkälti. Hihat käytettäneen myös johonkin.
Очень много вещей сшиты из ткани, которые я нахожу в секонд-хенде. А вот это вот сшито из ткани, которую я купила в секонд-хенде, вот это платье. Ну, оно абсолютно простое, но его можно одевать куда угодно, хоть с кедами, хоть с каблуками. В общем, я такое люблю. Потом, значит, вот это вот, ткань я купила в магазине, а в коже это были какие-то брюки кожаные из секонда. Вот.
Trashin, a combination of fashion and trash, combines innovative thinking and environmental concerns, so that fashionable pieces are made out of unconventional materials.
Well, this dress is a very good example of trashin. It's made from aluminum coffee capsules, and 10 volunteers cut about 5,000 capsules that came out to be 14,000 pilettes that we sewed onto the dress in different shapes, and then we repainted the whole thing so it wouldn't look like a fish or a mermaid, but now it's much more interesting with the different paint surface. But this is an example of what you can do, but people often think that you need maybe like 10 or 100 of something to create a trashin piece, but it's wrong. You need like thousands.
Sitten tosi paljon mä käytin huiveja. Niitä huivejakin meille tulee lahjoituksena tosi paljon. Mutta tämä on yksi esimerkki sitten, mitä me tehtiin. Tämä on tämmöistä toi venäläistä huivia. Ja täällä on myös kangaspala. Niin kuin tämä mekko, mikä mulla on päällä. Että tämä on myös kangaspaloista, että tullut vaan kankat ja yhdistetty tämmöinen mekko. Sitten meillä oli vielä laukkuja tehtiin. Nämä videokassettit me purettiin ja ne menit Sokevalla. Sokevalla on sitten käsityöläiset, näkövammaiset. Ne sitten kankaspuilla tekivät toi kanka. Ja se kankas tuli meille valmiina. Ja sitten minä suunnittelin nämä sitten laukut. Ja meillä oli ompelimassa ompelijat, niin ne ompelivat sitten.
Tina follows the zero waste idea in her design, according to which no material should be wasted as worthless. Ivanda creates her clothing pieces and jewelry out of materials with eco-certificates. She shares the cradle-to-cradle principle, which means thinking in terms of the life cycle of a cloth. According to this principle, it is important to thoughtfully discard or recycle your own pieces, as in the case of Mr. Sirius, the cat, who was born from a sweater of the past season's collection.
So yeah, this is Mr. Sirius, and it's the same cat which is on the sweater which been from last winter's collection. And this is recycled. This is the parts, like waste parts of what's left over from the fabric. So I felt like sad to throw them away. And I have collected quite many that kind of bigger pieces that I've been collecting different fabrics. So I I was thinking I have to make something, and because the sweater print is cat, so I thought of course I have to do the same. I have to do the little kind of friend for the sweater. So this is Mr. Serious, which is made. Everything is recycled except the filling. Filling is the eco fiber, so it's basically wooden kind of fiber.
Six out of 9 designers have their studios in Kallio, a former working-class neighborhood of Helsinki that is often seen as an area undergoing gentrification and turning into a hip middle-class locale with buzzing urban life. Kallio, with its anti-capitalist spirit and hipster ethos, is a welcoming neighborhood for sustainable fashion. The neighborhood offers relatively inexpensive premises for the designers, who choose to occupy shared spaces and has a community feel. The designers act like place entrepreneurs and contribute to the community through their projects.
Well, I've been living here like half of my life, and I really like Kallio, and it was well, this company was like first almost 2 years in my own home, in my living room, and then we just didn't fit into there anymore, and it was a like natural step to look at office from Kallio.
We got to this place a year ago, and we were 4 people looking for this place together to start a studio shop. So we're 4 different people making 4 different things, and we share this space and share the shop. But everybody's working for themselves, basically. So because it's impossible to have a space alone, and we met at a previous studio where we were all renting a table, and we got on really well. We wanted to start a shop in the old studio, and we did. And then suddenly the old studio was like finished. The main renter didn't want to have it anymore, so we decided to look for a space together. And we basically looked for a space together because we liked each other, liked what the other people are doing, and we had a good vibe together, and I think that's really important.
There's something home feeling about this area. And there's like small things, shops and cafes and that kind of, but not this all chain things. There are individual small shops where you can, I don't know, meet the owner or designer at the place, and it just gives like nice feeling to be around. I don't know.
Kallio has a long history of being the place that accepts everybody, even though of course it's not really true anywhere, but I think it's the most accepting place in Helsinki, that everybody's allowed to be themselves here, you know. If you're walking around in Kallio, you can look like whatever you want. That's what I really love about Kallio at the moment. There's a lot of really interesting, innovative small businesses around here, not only in fashion or creative industries, but also like other things. Like I think Kallio has the most second-hand shops in Helsinki, like in a small area, you know. One thing I think is like different to Kallio also compared to a lot of other areas in Helsinki is that there's a lot of organizations here who are working towards that community feel. You know, there's a lot of different like Kallio Liike, and it's Up with Kallio that we made, and there's Kallio Seura. There's like different places that are basically there to build that community feel.
A lot of interesting stuff happening here, a lot of nice people who consider these kinds of things more and more, you know, their own thing and way of doing it. I like the community around here. There are a lot of small businesses here.
I think that community is also something that I've tried to create, because this Up with Kallio it's all about that. Up with Kallio was is a map of small businesses around the area. And obviously the first purpose was to get more customers for these small businesses from elsewhere, like people who don't know Kallio and don't come here much, and tourists as well, of course. But the second point of this project was to get the small business owners to come together and communicate more.
The people in Kallio, they understand what we are doing. Second hand is a really good market for them or item for them to buy. But if we go to the eco fashion and remaking, we don't really speak to the people in Kallio. Actually, most of our customers are from somewhere else.
A lot of people who live in Kallio don't know about these small businesses.
Still the main place where the customers are buying their clothes, their Lumoan clothes, is our web store.
Local fashion brands often struggle to be financially sustainable. Instability of money flow causes trouble when trying to pay taxes, bills, salaries for hired labor, and their own paychecks, putting designers in a precarious position of financial and social insecurity. To stay afloat, they often have to find ways of balancing the artistic and the business sides of fashion.
Well, I definitely probably more as an art soul, or like more as a designer than a business person, because of course like that's why I started it, because I want to create, and I wouldn't be able to do only business part of this, like, or if I decided to just start some company and be as a business do only business stuff and not the designing, so it doesn't really suit to me. So I think in that sense more as an artist, but I think also this kind of things you can learn really with, even though like if I think I started 2 years ago, I had no any idea how to start anything, so how to talk, how to offer my products to somewhere and so on. So it's just learning, you just send first the wrong email, then you send correct one or whatever. I mean, like it's the process and calling, and have to be brave, have to do things if want to succeed, have to do things, not only designing. And there's different stuff, like you saw before, I'm carrying, boxes to the post. No, there's nobody else to do it.
Mä tuun tänne kyllä joka päivä. Mä oon vähän kuin virkamies. Mä teen 10-6 päiviä. Mutta päivien sisältö vaihtelee sitten sen mukaan, mikä on vähän kiinnostuksen kohde, ja jos on jotain deadlineja, niin määrittelee tietysti, mitä teen kyseisenä päivänä. Mun mielestä mä oon ihan ura huipulla nyt, koska mä saan tehdä sellaisia asioita, mistä mä tykkään. Et mun päätyöhän on taidetyön tekeminen tai taiteellisen työn tekeminen. Ja tätä mä teen vähän sivuhommana, tai sitten näitä on kiva tehdä, tulee nopeasti ja tää on hauskaa se tekeminen. Mulle sopii tämmöinen yksin työskentely. Ja mä oon lisäksi yhdessä kaupassa, Okra-nimisessä taidekäsityökaupassa osakkaana, että mä oon siellä jonkun päivän kuukaudessa, että on niinku ihmisten ilmoilla. Ja sitten taas taidetyön puitteissa mä käyn jonkun verran luennoimassa ja esityksiä tai esitelmiä pitämässä, että en ole ihan yksin tässä. Yksinäisyys on kyllä huono puoli ja semmoinen, että on yksin vastuussa kaikesta. Kyllä tässä on kyllä niin paljon hyviä puolia, että en ainakaan tällä hetkellä ole valmis vaihtamaan.
I think it has grown into me little by little after I started MEM. I started MEM almost 3 years ago, and the first year I was totally lost of what I was doing, because it's not taught anywhere how to do clothing from clothing. So I was just searching for the technique. And then when I started to, as my personality started to move more into the designer part of me, I started to realize how much stuff I was doing which was out of my own passion. That I was only taking care of things which I had to take care. The problems which I have come against is that, 400 square meters, it's too much, and there is many things. I have lost a great amount of time just to taking care of the place. I have lost a lot of energy onto negotiating new renters, negotiating renters who are here, and negotiating renters who are going out. So that's what I want to move out from, the concept that I can concentrate on doing what I do the best. I'm a master seamstress. I'm not a renter. That's all.
Вот, а выживает она в основном за счет ремонта, потому что это приносит основную прибыль. Но поскольку у нас здесь не только именно ателье, тут у нас все подряд, то это, в общем, плюс. Потому что когда только ты занимаешься чем-то конкретным, то ты зависишь от того, придет к тебе кто-нибудь сегодня или нет.
It's quite difficult to continue many years with this kind of work and have the stamina or the fearlessness to do it, and it takes quite a lot of energy to go on all the time, especially with the Finnish tax. Well, we have a really rough tax system, and it is very hard to get enough cash. You have to make quite enormous amount cash flow to provide salary, all the money which you have to pay, that you can pay the salary, all the taxes and everything. It takes quite a lot out of the volume which you make, all the stuff which you have to pay for the government. So you can sustain it for some time, but if you don't have a really good, strong cash flow, you will have drops, and if you have enough drops, there is the last drop, and then you don't come out of it.
It's hard to be an independent, sustainable designer in times of austerity and economic instability. A shop of a local designer does not automatically attract crowds of customers and profits. Therefore, the designers have to find compromises that allow them to be both sustainable and attractive to the consumers.
When I started to make clothes, I decided that that's what I want to tackle, that I want to try to make this completely zero waste, so I don't waste any material I have. But I have to say that now with my next collection, I've started to it's minimal waste now. It's not zero waste now, because I want to have some round shape. I want to have a round shape for the neckline because it makes it prettier. And I think before I was too strict to myself that I have to keep it zero waste, and now I've realized that actually I have to make it aesthetic first, pleasing to the eye, because nobody's going to care about the zero waste if they don't like the way it looks,
Actually, the polyester, like I said, it's by the latest research is the most ecological material, as it doesn't need to be grown. So the overall carbon footprint is much smaller. But in production, of course, it's bigger if compared to cotton. But and what else is really nice about polyester? Because what I'm doing is prints. That's all about the prints and shapes, and I want to do more color, because with screen printing I do quite a lot black and white. So this is perfect for me as a designer artist. It's perfect canvas because it keeps the color. It will never wash away. These old polyester dresses from 60s or 70s, they're still the same. Wherever they've been, the color always stayed there, and it's really lasting. If I print the same on the cotton, they always a little bit washes away. The color stayed there, but it's always getting paler. It never stays there on the natural fiber. So yeah, that's why I in a way I like that material a lot, but I also want that my clients like, and many of my clients are environmentally conscious, and I can't explain also to everybody, and it still has the kind of from the old times that polyester is really bad, that it's not ecological material. So if my clients doesn't like to wear polyester, well, I won't make it then.
We definitely wanted the production to be in Europe. We are not able to make clothes in Finland with these prices. That's for sure, and that's sad.
Ja näitä uniikkikappaleita tehtynä menee liian paljon aikaa ja työtä, että me ollaan nyt menty siihen suuntaan, että tehdään vähän sarjoja, on vähän helpompia mekkoja, naisten vaatteita. Nämä vaatii vähän enemmän suunnittelua ja aikaa.
People really do want to buy sustainable clothes and eco-friendly clothes, so that's only a base. That's not something you can ride with. But after that, there is something you have to add.
Well, It's kind of difficult thing actually, because you know this all, like of course I would like to be as sustainable as possible, but then on the other hand maybe then I shouldn't do anything, because whatever I do it consumes the resources, or it like I use fabric, and it's always creates a carbon footprint. I can't do that anything. So in that sense, of course, it's one of the aspects I try to choose the materials which are more ecological and try to do it locally and so on. But it's not like my main like vision in a way. It's kind of finding the middle path.
I don't know what fully sustainable means. Like I think already if you're making a smaller collection, you're making it locally or like near locally, and you're thinking about the ecological issues, I think it's already sustainable then, you know, like I don't think there's such a thing as like 100% sustainable, and you know, like everybody makes compromises.
Because you don't even have to do it like 100%. It's enough that you do some part of your design sustainable.